Manchester United fans, it's Saturday the 5th of July. No is the answer when you ask the question, Brian and Boomo. We'll talk about that. Is it the 2-day rule? I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. But first of all, today we're talking about Richard Rios and Manchester United's real target for midfield. We've been linked with a few other targets. Obviously, we spoke last night on the Wilfred Ndidi link for Manchester United. But obviously, we know the situation with Jadon Sancho right now. The real reason why Manchester United wanting to sell Jadon Sancho outright and not a make-weight loan or swap, that might be Richard Rios, according to reports. Manchester United in attendance again last night as Richard Rios starred for Palmeiras. Of course, they went out, but still, now that they are out, are we going to get some real decisions around Manchester United's midfield situation? Now that Ruben is back, now that pre-season has started, are we going to get the crunch decisions coming through? Richard Rios is a real target for Manchester United. Should we be going for him? Should we be going for the cheaper options? Apparently, he's available for 20 million. Going to gauge the live chat on that one and get your thoughts on it. So I've got a poll running right now. Which would be your preferred midfielder? Richard Rios, Douglas Luiz or Wilfred Ndidi? Going off a few different scenarios there. Price, availability, experience. There is so much to really put into that there. So let's see what everyone goes with on that. And let's get your thoughts on it as well in the live chat, please, everybody. If you are watching later on, please do get into the comment section and let me know what you think about Man United potentially going for a complete unknown to the Premier League in Richard Rios. Now, he has starred in America in the Club World Cup and done well for Palmeiras. He's 25. Should United be going for this player? We have talked about him aplenty. It does now look like there is significant movement in the midfield area for Manchester United. So let's get into the conversation on Richard Rios again now and link that in with the Sancho and Douglas Luiz conversation, which reared its head again last night from Italian sources on Manchester United giving actual serious consideration still to taking Douglas Luiz out of Juventus just to get rid of Jadon Sancho. We talked in depth on Sancho's situation last night and where the negotiations are at regarding his personal terms. We'll wait for something else to come out. Nothing new on Sancho exactly this morning in terms of what's actually going on with Juventus there or if there is any movement at all. This weekend could be crucial to a lot of different negotiations and deals. Like we said, in Mbumo, Sancho and Manchester United potentially moving on a striker and obviously the midfield options depending on what we get done with the Sancho situation. It could be one in, one out situation. We don't know. But what we've said all along is from the start, and I think this is right with Manchester United's approach in this window, is that United should be trying to sell. Like, I understand the swaps. I understand the make weights. I get it in the financial circumstances. But Manchester United do need to be going out for their top targets. And I think this has been made clear. We explained it last night, actually, quite well. When we're saying, and the chat was on the same page as well, that's why I say we. There's a lot of people talking about Manchester United. Clearly, if there was going to be a deal with Douglas Luiz and Sancho, we would have known that this was actually coming about now. There's no reason why Manchester United would drag this on and be considering it for so long. I just don't think we want him. I don't. He's a target for United, but I think United would want to do their own deal rather than making it a swap. I think Manchester United feel like these targets are actually gettable at the right prices. Now, Richard Rios is apparently available for 20 million quid. That's the so-called price. The problem we've got here is he's gone into a big tournament, the inaugural, obviously, Club World Cup, and he starred. And that now has put him on the main stage again. So Manchester United are amongst, I'm guessing, quite a few other clubs now who are bidding for Richard Rios and his signature. But the problem you've got there is that so-called release, he has got a release clause of up to 80 million. Now Palmeiras could probably get further up, closer to that. I'm not saying they're going to get right near it, but because Rios has played and starred, I just think now that you're going to have a problem in getting a player like this. Should we have moved quicker? Should we have gone for midfield before we went for the attackers? This is the problem that United were always going to have. And this is why selling Jadon Sancho probably benefits Manchester United even more, because they can restructure their own deal to what they want to financially when they're balancing their PSR sheets as well for the year. So if Richard Rios is indeed available for the 20 million that is being reported from the South American sources and a couple of European ones as well. Alfredo Padula has been big on this in saying that Manchester United, one of their top midfield targets is Rios. We've spoken about this before. He's made it very clear Edison, Rios are big targets for Manchester United. Obviously, we think that Rios would be cheaper off what's been said so far. But I think this is just now, for Manchester United to really decide which way they want to go. And I honestly believe they're not going to go for the Douglas Luiz option. I just don't think it's what they want to do. They want to get their players. Now, obviously, if you've got to then balance out what Rios is to what Douglas Luiz offers to even Wilfred Ndidi. To which you don't want to buy too many players. Like, you could actually bring in a couple of midfielders there going off the prices of all of these players. Look, whichever way you look at it, like, all of these players do come under the cheap bracket. Because we know that Douglas Luiz is not going to cost more than 30 million, and neither is Wilfred Ndidi. That's apparently 5 million for him. And then Rios is apparently 20 to 25 million going off reports. That could be more. And obviously the South American reporting side of it could be way off the mark in terms of what we know over here in Europe. But again, Manchester United, I think, fishing in the right ponds for this summer. I've maintained and said all along, I just think Manchester United should be looking at a real midfield target possibly next summer, like the big spend one, like your Whartons of this world, players like that. So that's what I think might happen next summer for Manchester United. There's clearly not enough money this summer because United are going all in on the striker. We know they are. The news about Rasmus, obviously Manchester United, apparently, according to Ben Jacobs, actually bidding already for Wilfred Ndidi. It tells you that they're looking for somebody just to fill the gap, I think, for this season. It doesn't sound right, that, because he could still obviously be there for longer. And obviously, if they're signing a contract at United, then they're not going to be there just for one season. This is why I thought, for me, the Palhinha loan potential move from Bayern Munich was the best option for United, because he can go back and there might be an option if United are in the Champions League or in the Europa League or whatever, and they can financially secure a decent deal for Palhinha, then that, I think, would suit United to go in and buy him then. But again, Palhinha's 29. Douglas Luiz is 27. And Ndidi up there in the high 20s as well. Rios, 25. These are experienced first-team players now. They're not young players. None of the midfielders we're looking at are lacking any experience at all. You're talking Palhinha, Palmeiras, here, playing in the Club World Cup against the best of the best. And he's doing well. Yes, climate, off-season, weird tournaments, not many fans there, less pressure. There's also, but this means an awful lot to these South American clubs because of the finances. I seen one report the other day. I think Fluminense have made in this tournament alone 81% worth of their whole turnover revenue from last season, just from this tournament. So this is huge for the South American Saudi Pro League teams just to make their mark. But financially, again, this puts a problem into the equation on Rios, because Palmeiras might not need to sell Richard Rios now. They might be able to just go, well, we don't need to really sell anything. We've got a fortune off the back of this tournament, somewhere near, I think they've earned around about 50 to 60 million off this Club World Cup now, Palmeiras, and they don't need to sell. So again, have United gone a bit slow off the mark? Will this price go up? I think if it gets anything north of 40 million, I think United are out of the equation for a midfielder. I think they may be pushing it even at 30 million at the moment. So this goes and shows you why Manchester United are looking possibly or potentially at Wilfred Ndidi as an option for Manchester United's midfield next season. And it just falls into that category of player that I'm thinking it's just the fill-in player. And again, not meaning to say that in any bad way at all, because Wilfred Ndidi and Douglas Luiz are good players. But we know Casemiro's gone at the end of this season, and United will go out and buy their main target and main transfer next summer will be a midfielder. I think it will be of the higher quality. I don't think Wharton will leave Palace this season. I think United have got their eyes on him. I think that's going to be the main transfer target for next summer anyway. And that's where the majority of our budget is going on him. I definitely just think that is the way. Let's get everything laid out here in terms of where we're at with Jadon Sancho now with Douglas Luiz, and why Manchester United are probably looking more at Richard Rios. Like I said before, United again, in attendance, watching Rios. They're now out. Are we going to get any movement on him? I think we're going to get some decisions coming soon on certain players now that pre-season started again. The Club World Cup has kind of got in the way of a lot of players' movements because they're just competing in that tournament. So reality really says that them players are going to go out and rest, have a bit of have a bit of like an off-season before they come back. So they're going to be delayed. You're not going to see any of the Club World Cup players returning until probably late July. So you're not going to see anyone from that Club World Cup on a tour, I don't think, of any of the Premier League clubs in particular. So it'd be a long-waited one. Maybe that might help Manchester United a bit in getting Rios because we know we have to move players on. So when you look at Jadon Sancho's situation now, he does look like the closest. We do have an update on Anthony as well, coming up in a minute. But Jadon Sancho, after the reports from last night, the Italian reports again are pushing the Douglas Luiz swap thing. It was all over last night on social media as well. And I just think, again, if it's the Italians pushing the Douglas Luiz side, I automatically feel like it's not Manchester United pushing the Douglas Luiz side. And I think we are going to be looking like at players like Rios and players I think Manchester United feel are best suited to them. There's a reason why we haven't gone for Douglas Luiz already. And the more I think about him, the more I think Manchester United just won't do it. Now, we do know, and there has been a report and a scouting report on Douglas Luiz that was reported a couple of weeks ago now. And I think it was Nate Salt who mentioned it from the Daily Mail, who said that Manchester United are not keen. Sorry if I've got that wrong. I'm pretty certain it was Nate Salt who did it. There might have been another journalist. United aren't keen on Douglas Luiz and have had a bit of an issue with his injury record from last season. Now, I've spoken about that several times here on Forever United TV as well. Douglas Luiz obviously missing 20 games last season through injury. His muscle situation, I think it was a muscle strain for the majority. I think it was thigh that was the problem, his thigh muscle. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Sorry, I was trying to remember that report and reading back into it. But Manchester United not that keen. Then there was the counter to that, which was that, well, he's coming into a rotation system with less games to play. Can we still use him? And that way, then Manchester United would look at it and say, well, when you're looking at a swap for Jadon Sancho, it's not costing us anything and you've got a midfielder in. But then what about next season? That was the other side of it. And that's the no side on this deal. It's like, yeah, it's all right for this season, but United have got aspirations to be back in Europe. And what's the point in having a player there that's probably going to be on over 100 grand a week again that isn't going to feature that much next season because United are going out buying another midfielder next summer to replace Casemiro. You get where I'm going with it? And obviously strength in depth. And don't get me wrong, if Douglas Luiz is happy to accept a lower wage, he's on low wages at Juventus, considering what Man United are paying anyway. 82 grand was what we found out when Leeds tried to go and attempt to buy Douglas Luiz already this summer. They were put off by his wages. He's obviously going to want a pay rise to come to United like every player does. So what, you're 100, 120 grand? It's not horrendous, and he's still 27. And if you maintain him, then he will be a feature and he will be a real weapon for Manchester United. I think there's a 50-50 kind of split on the Douglas Luiz situation right now with Man United. How I'm reading it, I don't think they've made their mind up. And I think at the end of the day with that, if you're not too sure, you don't make the transfer. And it goes back to what I said last night in Ruben Amorim saying he's not going to make the same mistakes again in what they did in previous transfer windows. This is important to make sure that United get players that are going to continuously provide and offer something for Manchester United. This is the point that we made last night with the players that are not welcome back. Unless you're going to work hard, unless you're going to maintain and be consistent in a Manchester United side, you're not going to feature. You're not going to just walk into that side. So I think United are buying players they know are 100% and are going to be available constantly. And any injury record just makes me think back to Mason Mount and that signing. Good player. Nothing at all wrong with Mason Mount as a player in his position. We didn't need him in that position in that summer. I don't know why we bought him. And nobody looked into his injury record. Chronic hip injury for 3 months towards the back end of that injury for Chelsea, which has obviously affected other parts of his body and then leading into the injury nightmare that he's had for 2 seasons at United. Albeit the last 2 months of last season, he was injury-free and was available. So that was good. But Again, I think this is what scared Manchester United into thinking, like, yeah, it's good to have this player, and he fits it on the profile and on paper, but if he's not available, he's bleeding useless to us. So why are we going to go for that player? I think this is why everything has been taken into consideration at United right now, and why we're looking at Rios. I think what's happening here, again, like I said at the top of the show, is United wants somebody who is athletic, who is powerful, who can carry a ball, who's got an assist, who can get up and down the pitch, who's got an engine. This is why Alfredo Padula was saying that Rios and Edison from Atalanta, Rios from Palmeiras, are Manchester United's top 2 targets from overseas. No experience in the Premier League. They're the other options for Manchester United. They have been looked at before. Rios was looked at by Manchester United last summer. So too was Edison. These players are well known to Manchester United, and contact has been made to find out what the necessary conditions are for these players to come into United. The only word we've heard on Rios is that he could be 20 million. Could be. Might be. There is a release clause in his contract which is near 80 million, which is why I think he's 25 and nobody has taken him away from Palmeiras. So, again, the reality tells us there are multiple options there for United, and I think the situation with Jadon Sancho is they want the full sale so they can go out and buy the player that they want. Now, I might be thinking here, Wilfred Ndidi might be in a make weight because they want the Jadon Sancho money to go and buy a striker. Striker is the top option for Manchester United, and that's the priority right now. So, again, it's all going to come down to what happens with Rasmus Højlund, whether Inter Milan are genuinely interested in him and he is pushing for that move. Benny McCarthy, by the way, has come out and said that Rasmus Højlund should fight for his place at Manchester United. Honestly, I love Benny McCarthy. I don't really care for anybody that he's thinking on a personal note for these players right now. I think the proof is in the pudding, and then obviously is in providing the goals, and Rasmus Højlund just hasn't done it, along with other players at Man United. So, again, the approach from Ruben this summer already is very clear. You've had your chance. You're not going to get another one. That's it. And don't forget who you've got above him. You've got Omar Barada above him. 2 years, man, or so-called 2 years, man. If you're not producing and you're not progressing within 2 years, you're out of the club. You're not going to stick around. And so you've got him behind Ruben Amorim, who won't give these players a chance at all. After 6 months, you're not going to get much help from Omar Barada behind him, who's right on board with Ruben Amorim. You add into the mix there Jason Wilcox, who is the man that is feeding everything into Ruben Amorim right now, player-wise. All of them people at Manchester United, all on the same page. These players don't stand a chance this summer. And I think we've seen that straight off the bat. 5 players told go elsewhere. 2 of them apparently, which we're guessing was Malacia and Antony, were happy to come back to United training. Let's not forget, Malacia had a successful, he won Eredivisie with PSV. And obviously, Antony at Betis, they were successful. The other side of things, you could argue that. Garnacho, Rashford and Sancho, like we discussed last night. But Manchester United making that stance very clear. I think it just moves from what we've got right now into the transfer window. And it's very, very obvious that there is a plan in place here for Ruben Amorim. And the players that he wants in, I said it last night, I said it for weeks, I said it last season, they have to be absolutely perfect. Cunha and Mbeumo are perfect for Manchester United. I'm struggling to find anybody else right now that's perfect for United. Them two are at the right age, with sell-on if necessary, massive experience and provided at the level. They are the 2 players. I'm telling you now, they're the 2 players that Ruben said, because you cannot get better, I don't think, for what Ruben needs and United need right now for this season in them 2. Tell me another player in the chat right now. I'm coming to the live chat now. Tell me another player in there that you think is as good or as perfect as them 2. I just don't see it. So there's going to be negatives and positives for anyone else that comes in now, I feel. Like just discussing Victor Gyökeres, for instance. That one there divided the fan base, and he looked like the obvious one for us. And every single transfer from this point now has gone to a point where it's like, I'm not too sure. But then you've got people that like him, you've got people that don't like him. These 2 signings that we've got, I think we just need to obviously take a step back and accept that we have done amazing business. Obviously, we'll talk about Mbeumo in a minute and that one being done. But this was massive, I think, for Ruben, for them too. Everything else past that, I think, is going to be, I don't know. I don't know. A little bit up in the air, and it could go one way or the other. And that's why I think the rest of this window might be difficult for United. Ant with a super chat. Why just one Adam? Get all of them? No, Ant. We can't buy all of them. Let's not be silly. We need to make room for a bigger signing next summer. Use what we've got, add one into it, I think, and get one player there that I think is going to help Manchester United get through this season. I think that's... And obviously be able to be used as a squad player throughout the other seasons of his contract, obviously. But I cannot see Manchester United getting two midfielders. No. 2 strikers, maybe. 1 midfielder. Goalkeeper. Possibly a wing-back at the end. I don't see that happening, no, for me. Let's see what else we've got in here now. Get your comments in, everybody. I'm coming to the chat. Thank you already for everyone who has liked the video as well. Thank you very much. Keep them likes coming in if you're loving the content. Hit the subscribe button also. We're almost at 89,000. In fact, we're only, what's that, about 41 subscribers away from 89,000. Amazing job, everybody. Let's see what we've got in here. If Luiz is so good, why didn't he go to a Prem club when he left Aston Villa? I'm not sure. Look, Juventus from Aston Villa. Come on, Ash, that's not a bad step up, to be honest. Juventus are a bigger club than Aston Villa. I know the Premier League is a better league, but I think he's seen the limelight there. Champions League, everything that Juventus offers. It is a big club, Juventus. You can't really argue that, I don't think, anyway. I mean, Premier League, I get your point. It's a bigger league, staying there. Let's see what else we've got here in the chat. United can't lose. United can't close the front door. Never mind closing. And Mbumo spelt wrong there, badly, Lee. But I think your typo had you on that one, matey. Surely the scouts have put together a list of players, but we're still chasing the same players. There will be a list of players, but like we said before, mate, we have to be realistic with the targets, and some of them are just going to be too dear with the budget that we've got this summer. I think that's all it is. These players that we're talking about here, and the 3 that are in the actual poll right now, are realistic targets because of the quality and experience and price. Price, I think, over everything else, and I shouldn't be thinking that way, but you automatically go there, don't you? Because United are short of money, and we know we're short of money, so we do need to be very, very careful with what we spend. I honestly would not be surprised if indeed he turned up at Man United. I don't want it. I don't, but I wouldn't be surprised because of what he is. Cheap, experienced, young enough, and can do a job for Manchester United. I really do think that United would be considering him. And I'm not surprised Ben Jacobs said what he did yesterday. And United, if you can get him for $5 million and he's on cheap wages, then I'm sorry, like, that is something you probably have to do anyway, because he is an all right player, and some would say he's better than what we've got. And if it is the right package, I can see why. I really can. I would take Paulinho. Personally, I would still go for him. I would even spend 25 million on Paulinho right now, rather than going getting 5 million Wilfred Ndidi. I know that Paulinho just suits what we play like better. I think he's a better overall player as well. And indeed, he's on the decline big time from where he was with Leicester. You can rekindle it and it could come to life again, but are you willing to take that risk and just have another player there that isn't going to play much? And the more I think about it, the more I think, yeah, we can do it. And then I start to question myself and question the actual transfer overall, really. And it's like, again, I'm fighting with myself in my own head right now. Never mind people in the chat or people with different opinions. I'm not convinced at all. Rios, not convinced. Luiz, not convinced. Ndidi, not convinced. Rios only because he's not got the experience in the Premier League, and we know that's hit us before. I can see the qualities in him, and watching him in the Club World Cup, he does look like an absolute player. He really does. And the assist he got last night against Chelsea, again, he is a great player. I just have that fear of Premier League proven, and that's just embedded in me now because of the history of this football club. But then again, if Ruben does take him in, I know that Manchester United would have done their research, and this recruitment team would make sure that this is the right type of signing. That's what we have looked at so far and what we've actually operated like since we've got this new team into Manchester United in the management side of things. I know a lot of you are still not convinced by it. That's totally fine. And we have to wait out a few years till we know exactly how good the business is that they have done. But this is why I think we've taken our time, personally. I just think that they're not convinced. And it's always that saying, isn't it? If you're not convinced, don't go all in. If you've got any doubt at all, don't go for it. And then you say, well, the positives outweigh the negatives. There is no perfect player. I think this is why it's taking ages. The money as well. I just don't think they've made... I don't think Manchester United are convinced on any midfield target, is what I say. Let's see what else we've got in here. We need to build our own transfer budget, remove the unwanted once and for all. Again, going back to what I said, good point, Stephanie, with Manchester United trying to get rid of Jadon Sancho for money, not swap. We want our own players in. I get that comment completely there. Adam, are we getting rid of a Nana? Please, let's add a midfielder. On both of them questions, Michael, Andre Nana, I would say now from where we were, there have been a lot of talks of him leaving, staying. I think he'll be staying, personally, from what we've seen and what I've read. It's changed and moved constantly throughout the window. Now heading into pre-season, I think Manchester United will be buying a cheaper goalkeeper. Like we said last night, John Victor, it could be coming in for as little as 10 million. I expect that sort of goalkeeper coming in. Now that Villa have secured their finances, I don't see Emi Martinez moving at all now. That was all pushed by the PSR side of things, and Emi Martinez, forget that one, I think, now. Sadly, I don't think Manchester United have got enough money to buy Diogo Costa, unless we do make some miraculous sales in the transfer market. I know that's Ruben's preferred choice. Don't think that's going to happen. I do believe that it is going to be a number 2 type of goalkeeper that they feel can really push in and challenge Onana, and then eventually it's easy to push Onana down and bring the goalkeeper through. Even then, though, it's still a bit of a risk because you're spending a bit of budget there. If it is about 10 million, could 10 million have gone on a better midfielder? That's what a lot of people will be saying. If you're going to go for John Victor, then why not bring Vitek back in? Is he just as unproven in the Premier League? Yeah. What's a better league? The Austrian League or the Brazilian League? Different questions altogether again, isn't it? And if you were saying to me right now, take John Victor or take Vitek, and that saved you 10 million to put on a midfielder or a striker, personally I would take Vitek and let him have a chance in goal and save the money. Someone at Manchester United must be really, really unconvinced by Vitek. But then again, I'm thinking this was always something that was going to happen later in the window with Man United's goalkeeping situation. So maybe we want to see Vitek on tour, and Amorim wants to see what he's like, and then he could make a judgment from there. That could be a potential one. Vitek is a beast, by the way, an absolute monster. I think he's about 6'5", 6'6". I remember going on holiday and he was with his girlfriend on the same plane as us last summer. Absolute beast of a guy as well. So another one to United to ponder really there. But the midfielder, Michael, again, thanks for the comment, mate. I think is definitely something we desperately need this summer. We're going to have to get it. Let's get a few super chats in as well. Ant says, we are lighter than Garnacho's brain in midfield. Ash. See where you go with it though. Stuart says we can't get Brian done besides Rios for F's sake. 4 weeks, says Stuart. Garner to Villa for Watkins / Onana / Rodgers, says Ant's in Dreamland this morning. Thanks for the super chats, everybody. I'll go back to Stuart's there in terms of Brian and Bumo and where we're actually at with that one. Again, there is no updates at all. The only thing I would bring up with Brian and Bumo right now, remember when the bid went in, the second bid went in and we didn't find out about it for 2 days. Now, we did hear of apparently another offer going in, and it was then known 2 days later. We had another offer going in on Thursday, and if we're going off the previous bid that went in last time, we didn't find out for 2 days. So maybe we're going to find out today, because apparently the last offer went in on Thursday. So maybe we do find out this weekend. God only knows. But we do know, and from what Ben Jacobs said, there is a deadline for Manchester United, and the deadline is this weekend. Apparently, it was on Friday, yesterday, and now it's moved to the weekend. And what Ben Jacobs said last night on Bimbumo, if you weren't watching last night's show, is basically that the second bids, when they go in and they're not rejected outright, which United wasn't, it means that the clubs are talking, and it usually means the deal will get done. It'll be very, very surprising if the deal doesn't get done. That's all we've got really to go on with the Brian and Bumo situation at the moment. Roz with the super chat. Thank you, Roz. What are the chances of the sales picking up in January window from right where they left off when this one ends? I would love it if we kept pressure on players that survived this time. If in terms of, let me just read that again. What are the chances of sale? Right, people leaving. I think Manchester United will be getting rid of them 5 players this summer. Do I want anybody else out in January from what's in that squad right now? There's 2 players that probably spring to mind that a lot of Manchester United fans would probably say. No, I would say there's 4 players that United fans would say should be moved out of Manchester United after these 5 that we're talking about this summer. Them 4, for reasons right or wrong, are Casemiro, Maguire, Shaw, and Mason Mount. Am I right in saying that? To be a full-on complete overhaul of Manchester United's squad, them 4 would probably all have to go as well, alongside Rasmus Højlund and Andre Onana over the next 2 windows, and their summer windows, this one and next summer. I don't expect Onana, Rasmus Højlund, Mason Mount or Luke Shaw to be starting the 2026 and 27 season, is what I would say. I don't expect them players to be here. I don't think Maguire will get a contract extension, and I don't think Casemiro definitely won't. They would be the players that I think would convince Manchester United fans that this is a complete overhaul. These 5 that we're talking about now, let's not forget, some of these are fan favourites. There is still a lot of people arguing Marcus Rashford's and Alejandro Garnacho's case in this Man United fan base. Look, we've all got our own opinions. I've got mine. I'm very strong with mine on all of these players. I don't think any of them are good enough for Manchester United. They could have been, but proved their worth in their attitude and their antics and their whole application at Manchester United. So, no, I've seen enough. I'm ready for change as a fan. I'm completely ready for change. And I want this script completely ripping up, to be honest, and going again. That's where I'm at as a Man United fan right now. Can we give Newcastle Rashid and Garner and take Tonali? Never going to happen. Never going to happen. I'll tell you what, Ant, you're playing some good FIFA this morning anyway, pal. I'll tell you that. John says he's leaving the channel because I don't read his messages out. There's a lot of messages, mate. We have well over 2,000 people in the room, but there you go. That's it, John. Just seen that one pop up there, mate. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, buddy. Malacia got some confidence asking to leave. Who's really going to sign him? He's one of Rashford's little mates. Look, I said before, like with Malacia, someone will buy him. He's got that Eredivisie title under his belt now. He did contribute to that the back end of last season. He is one of Rashford's mates, and I think that was his downfall. There was an issue with Malacia, with Ruben Amorim as well. I wasn't surprised when he was sent out on loan alongside Anthony and Marcus in the January transfer window. Not surprised one bit, to be honest. But again, I do believe that Malacia will leave. It is a situation now, more news coming in I wanted to talk about. So let's move on from the first part into the striker side of things. It's gone a bit quiet for Manchester United on the striker targets. Obviously, Ollie Watkins' price we found out was 60 million. So again, unless something really, really significantly changes in the window from now until the end of August, I don't see Ollie Watkins happening. There are still confident talks about it. There is still confidence within Manchester United circles and people in and around the club that Ollie Watkins could happen at Manchester United at some point. But I don't see it at that price at all. We're not going to go out and buy. And I will stick to what Romano said on this one, more than anything with Ollie Watkins. The interest is there. The conversations have been had. And the price has come out. Because Aston Villa sold their women's team. No more problems with PSR. They don't need to sell Ollie Watkins. He's contracted till 2028. And United are going to have to pay 60 million. It's not going to happen at that price. If that comes south of 40, United are in. But until then, forget it. Not a chance. United will not spend a lot of money, like Romano said, on a striker. What about a striker for free? No, I'm not talking about Jonathan David. He's signed for Juventus now. And his current teammate, because he's still at the football club, Dusan Vlahovic has come back onto the scene again. And the reports last night on Vlahovic were that Juventus are looking into terminating Vlahovic's contract. And conversations are actually going on right now to come to an agreement so they can get Vlahovic's wages off the books and bring in another striker. That would make Vlahovic a free agent. Would you go in for him then as a free agent? At that point, Manchester United, if that does materialise and Juventus come to an agreement with Vlahovic's representatives, and this is a report from Italy, by the way, that's been going around from last night, and Vlahovic then becomes a free agent, I think United have to be in on that. I think Manchester United have to get that deal done. That's like another Christian Eriksen. It's a no-brainer type of situation. You've got a 25-year-old Serbian striker there with bags of experience who can provide goals for your football club. That I think he's got the right mentality as well. He's a winner. He's determined. He's good in the box. He's a good 6-yard box striker as well. And one-on-one situation, very good also. But as a free agent, would you take Vlahovic then? If you are uncertain about Vlahovic before, if you knew that he was going to be a free agent, would you take him then? Would you take Vlahovic then? That's the question, I think, for all Manchester United fans. I don't think there'd be many that would say no to that. If you can get the right contract, obviously, for him, and it has to be south of 200 grand a week again for Vlahovic to go. I'll leave Juventus for United. That's what he wants. But I think someone else would take him anyway on a bigger wage if he did turn out to be a free agent. Not having to pay a transfer fee for United right now, that would be gold. Ant says, Adam, no, just no. Vlahovic does not suit us or the Prem. No bloody way. And huge wages too. I think he does suit the Prem. Someone will buy him. I think a Premier League club could buy Vlahovic yet. We definitely cannot pay 60 million for Watkins, says Toxie. Is that how you say that? Sorry. No, I'd rather have Harry Maguire up front than Vlahovic. Is awful. He's not awful. I don't know why people think he's awful. He isn't that bad a striker. And for free, and the experience that he's got, and the goals that he has scored in his career, is he not one? I'm surprised that there's not more actually going for it. Do I even watch football, Adam? Yes, I watch football, mates. And Vlahovic is not that bad a striker that people are making out. And I'm saying he's a free agent here as well. People who think that he is a bad player, obviously, seriously, just watch United and Rasmus Højlund this season when it comes to bad players. That's where I put my ranking at. For someone who's got 20 goal involvements from apparently having an off-season last season, I'd take that all day long ahead of Rasmus Højlund, mate. So, yeah, I do watch it. Let's see what else we've got here. How can people prefer Watkins before Gyökeres? How many goal difference do they have the last 2 seasons between them? Carl, on that one, mate, Premier League, Portuguese League, they're the responses you're going to get back from that comment there, buddy, I think. That's the only thing. Why is everybody going in on me not reading comments out now? I can see some of the jokes creeping into the chat there. I like it. The banter's good. The banter's good. Now, there's an interesting one there from Ryan, actually, that I just did see as a different one. Samu, his value on the market is £40 million. His release clause is 55. I feel it's a lesser option and one who could improve. Samu, good player, strong player. Chelsea really missed the trick with him in buying him. They should have bought him before. I think it was 2 seasons ago now that they should have bought him. 2 summers ago. Yes. Greg says with a super chat, John spent so long trying to get his message out there, only to have left and missed his bye-bye message. Most United fan thing ever. Like the super chat, mate. Thank you for that, buddy. Roz with another super chat says, Villa need to make as much as they can because of UEFA sanctions. Can't use new players in tournaments until they swing their money problems. Chelsea too thought about Delap and laughed. Though this is the thing with Chelsea and them sanctions yesterday. There has been a restriction put on both Chelsea and Aston Villa and all the other clubs that have been actually fined. And they are of that certain players that they buy in the transfer window are restricted in the Euro, in the UEFA competitions that they're playing in as well. So that could really come and actually hamper them as well. And will that put players off from going to Chelsea and Aston Villa now? Now that certain players are not allowed to play in them UEFA competitions. There are a few minor details and small print involved in that, which maybe these clubs will find a loophole to get around. I'm not too sure of them. I did read that. I've not looked into the minor detail on that, so I don't want to talk about that too much yet because I don't know the full ins and outs of that sanction that has come in on Chelsea and Villa. But it could be something that does affect transfer business going forward as well. Geno, the Viking. Hi, all mods and Adam. Adam, can you tell my girls, Erica and Astrid, to be quiet while I watch you on TV? Erica, Astrid, be quiet, please. There's more important things going on here that Geno wants to talk about regarding Manchester United. And it's important that us United fans get our Saturday morning conversations out there. There you go, Geno, mate. Thank you for that, buddy. And yeah, love little comments like that as well. Right, so I think we're pretty safe in saying that the chat don't want Vlahovic even if he's on a free transfer. Okay, I get it. And I get all the points. Look, he's not my top target either. I was just making the point about a free transfer, and he is better than Rasmus Højlund. I don't care what anybody says. And that is an upgrade for Manchester United. And if he's free, then it's not bad. You could have him as the reserve striker when we go out and buy a normal striker or a decent striker. That's what I would say would definitely help Manchester United. To have Vlahovic as a second striker, oh, good God, yes. Please. All day long. Vlahovic is not my number one. I need to make that clear. I want another striker in. But if you've got someone like him in your squad, and obviously he would want to play first-team football, which is why I don't think it would happen anyway. But that would be me saying Manchester United are really improving going forward. Recruitment is going on to another level because, yeah, we are actually building a squad depth here as well as just a first 11. And that is taking it to a new level. It is. All right, let's get some more comments in on this one. Ash said, Watkins is not the one. He's a space merchant. If there's no space to run into, he's useless. Yeah, kind of disagree. Adam, yes, sure about the league difference, but still Gyökeres is more aggressive, strong, and got a better eye for goal. I wouldn't mind Watkins, but between these two, it's an easy choice. If they're the same price, you might be right on that, Cal, mate, because obviously Gyökeres is younger, and that again will be a big sell for United. I don't think United will go for Gyökeres because of sporting stance. I think United, don't get me wrong, if that agreement was there, then United would be in for Gyökeres, but United are not going to spend that much money on Victor Gyökeres that Sporting want. It's not going to happen. And I go back again to what Romano said. I don't think Manchester United are going to spend big on a striker. They're not going to do it. Anyone who has just joined us, let's just go back to that top topic again. The midfielder situation at United. There are 3 players that are being talked about at the moment in the news over the last week that United are going for. Richard Rios from Palmeiras went out of the Club World Cup last night after having a great tournament. Got another assist last night as well and going out to Chelsea. Manchester United have him as one of their top midfield targets, and there could be more movement on this now. Manchester United see him as the perfect midfielder to bring in as the ball-carrying number 8. He wears the number 8 shirt as well, so he is the actual natural 8 for Manchester United. Would you go for him? Would you go for Ndidi, who is Premier League experienced, still in his 20s, and is only going to cost $5 million? Or would you go for Douglas Luiz? Douglas Luiz could come in for, you could say nothing, because he's going to be a swap for Jadon Sancho, potentially. And he's got bags of Premier League experience as well and could still do a job. And he's probably better than a couple of our midfielders in that position and doing that role. So which way would you go? The stories on Rios are real. Richard Rios is a Manchester United genuine target and scouted throughout this tournament. The South American market is something that Jason Wilcox is actually really pushing down on now at Manchester United. And the bargains that you can get there and the deals that you can get in the Brazilian, Argentinian, Paraguayan, like we've known leagues now, any South American league right now, there are bags and bags of absolute world-beating players there, but just haven't been developed enough in the European leagues. Can United be taking someone like Rios in who hasn't got any Premier League experience at all? And can they get that deal done at the risk of, like what we've been trying to prioritise this summer, in buying players in who have got that Premier League proven quality? It's difficult. It's difficult. Insane Gamer, we cannot buy Jaziri. he's gone to AC Milan. It's a here we go. People who keep bringing up Jaziri from Club Bruges, it's over. He's signed for AC Milan. I don't know if anybody has not seen that news in any way, but he has gone to AC Milan. And so that, again, is what's happening now with this one. So, again, no, it's not. Can Casemiro play our centre-back? I don't know why we would want him at centre-back when we've got 6 centre-backs already. Akshay, is it Akshay? Sorry if I said that name wrong there. I swapped my mum. I thought I missed that one. It came off my screen. I swapped my mum for Freedom. Just get rid. So Domingo would rather play his mum than Jadon Sancho in our team. So we got Barry says the Vlahovic hate is hilarious. Do people not understand that he's twice the player Rasmus is, and for free? A potentially brilliant signing. If he is he my first choice? No, but come on, we are shite. Interesting. On the Club World Cup, by the way, and on the Euros, which is now going on with the women's team as well. Please do check out our match day sponsors as well, which are running it, and we are running the friendlies for Manchester United, so it'd be good for you to get in on the match bingo scene right now, everybody. They are our sponsors here on Forever United TV as well. Please do, if you haven't already. You are missing out. It does add that extra little bit of entertainment to each game. Sorry, not that one. That was a special one that we had the other day. I picked up the wrong one there. We do specials, and we will be doing some Manchester United specials this month on Match Bingo as well. All you have to simply do is hit the QR code on the screen there, or tap on the link in the live chat or the description right now. Download the app, dead simple, free to download. Then get onto your account. Sorry, I need to put that up again. I said that all wrong. Yeah, so download the app, simple as that, free download. Then deposit £5, get an extra £10 on top of that as a new customer on Match Bingo. It is dead easy to play. You just pick the game you want to be involved in and buy as many Match Bingo cards as you want. They're only £2 a card, everybody. Dead cheap, easy to play. They pick all of the match events for you. It could be a throw-in in a certain minute. It could be a goal scored with a certain foot, a headed goal, a free kick taken at a certain minute. Anything like that can happen in a game. It's like playing bingo, but with match events. You get 5 in a row, you win £25. You get another 5 in a row, you get another £25. If you do get all 15 match events, then you win the jackpot, which is upwards of £200. And for just £2 a card, you might as well give it a go. You are missing out if you haven't had it already. We've got loads of people here on Forever United TV that have had big wins already on Match Bingo. It's a brilliant little game as well. And thank you again for them for being our sponsors throughout. And we are going to continue through pre-season and into the new season, gladly I can say, as partners with Match Bingo. So thank you again to them. Do get involved on that, everybody. It is, like I said, it's just a little bit of fun on the side of the game, and you can win big doing it as well. And who doesn't like bingo, for God's sake? I mean, come on. Who doesn't? Anyway, by the way, everyone, quick announcement to come. 30 subscribers away from 89,000. Thank you, everybody, again, for all of your participation on the shows and everything that you do in supporting the channel, particularly the subscribers, in keeping up to date with all of the shows. Absolutely love it. We have passed 500 live likes again. We seem to be getting that every single live show now. It's absolutely brilliant. Let's get a few more comments in. We like to bring as many in as we possibly can. Let's see what else we've got in here. And now, I can't read that out there. It's a big, long one. It's a member, so I'm just going to read it out and you'll know exactly what. The last few digits of your name is Scoot. I don't know what the DOP3B1 thing is at the start, but I reckon Sporting will drop their price for Gyökeres as soon as Arsenal sign Sesko. Ben Jacobs said that Man United might go for Sesko if Arsenal do buy Gyökeres, you know. That's still something that might happen. And again, just feeds into what we've been saying all along, that this window, I think, we'll see a lot more action towards the back end of it. We need to prioritise the players that we want out. Obviously, the 5 we spoke about last night are key on that. But Manchester United will be waiting out the window for them opportunities for a striker, like Romano said. I think that is exactly... I think that's the right play as well for United. I do. I think that's how we should be looking at this transfer window. Someone says do a GoFundMe for a new midfielder. Let's see what we've got. I know people who have literally lost everything. We're talking about games, sorry. Yeah, obviously, by the way, just on the match bingo thing, I forgot to mention it there. Gamble aware people as well, spend to your means. You have to be 18 above and UK resident, so you cannot play if you're abroad, sorry. It has to be UK only based. But yes, you can only buy a certain amount of cards, by the way, and they don't let you go above a certain amount. So that's where the game does have safety factor with it also as well. So you can't buy more than a certain amount of cards on a particular game. So it is good, it is fun, it is safe, and it's just a good way to add a little bit to the match days. That's all it is. Are you going to the Brighton game, Adam? Taking my son for the first time. Ole was up from all the way up from Cornwall. Ooh. Brighton away, is that our second game of the season? It is, isn't it? Something in there. For some reason, we always seem to get Brighton either right at the end of the season away when it's hot, or right at the start of the season when it's hot. Every single season. Been there a few times. I've still not seen... Oh, I have seen Man United win at Brighton. Actually, the third time, lucky it was for me, when Rasmus actually scored a goal and we won 2-0 when it really didn't matter because the season was over. But yeah, that was the only time that we actually managed to win a game at Brighton for me. And we got found wanting in that game as well. We were lucky. Let's see what we've got here as well. A few people asking about that Brighton game. Gamble aware. Yes, please do. Let's get a few more comments in before we finish up. I'm actually going to end up the poll now on the... which preferred midfielder. Over 2,000 votes, by the way, everybody. So thank you again for that. Which midfielder would you go for? Rios, Ndidi, or Luiz? 7% of you have chose Ndidi. 20% have gone with Douglas Luiz. And 73% have gone with Richard Rios of Palmeiras as your top target, a top midfielder out of them three. They're the three that have been spoken about a lot at the moment. Richard Rios is a genuine target for Manchester United. Starred in the Club World Cup, now out of the Club World Cup. Could we now see movement on that transfer for Manchester United, or is it going to be another midfielder? Look, that is our show for this morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. Enjoy your day, people. I will be back later if anything breaks. Stay tuned. If anything does come out, make sure you've got that subscribe button hit, because then you will be notified of the actual news that's coming out. Of course, I'll be back later with the live show this evening, as always. But until then, let's see what today brings. I will thank you all again. Mods, thank you for everybody. If you're wondering about the shirts and everything, again, the retro shirts and everything, the link is in the description, everyone. So please do check that out. So grab yourself a bargain with the retro shirts from our store. Everyone asking about where I get my shirts from. I've seen loads of comments and loads of people hitting the comment section afterwards. We put a link in the description there for you to go check it out. One of the mods will drop it in on the live chat right now, just as we finish as well. So you can go and click on that a lot easier and check out the deals that are on there. Some nice kits there. Training kits and training tracksuits as well. Some really good ones. And some special edition stuff as well, which is really good also to get hold of. And like I said before, really cheap and just a different way of people being able to afford some of the latest stuff out there as well. So thank you, everybody. That is us all wrapped up and done. I do appreciate you all, as always. Loads of comments, great chats this morning. Also, I will see you all later on. Let's hope something does break today, particularly with the Mbumo one. I think that's going to be the one that just cheers everyone up a little bit. But that's it for now, everyone. Have a good day.